Hey, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Speak Easy podcast. I am your host, Altovise, the voice coach, not a voice coach, but the voice coach, professional speaker, certified life coach, and Amazon bestselling author. And I am coming to you live or via the replay. And there is nothing wrong with that. Don't forget that even on the replay, your shares, your invites, your reactions, and your comments still matter. We always come back and engage with you in the comments and talk to you and see just exactly what it is that you had to offer to the conversation. We appreciate you. And if you're catching this on YouTube, by all means, I can't talk, hit that subscribe button so that way you can get the future episodes and interviews here on the Speak Easy podcast. So you know that we talk about the behind the scenes of what it is to be a speaker or an author. And today's topic is so needed. It's necessary because I feel as though when a lot of people get into the speaking and being an author, they lose sight of themselves. And so the topic for today is me first. And I have the amazing Miss TiKeya here. Hey, TiKeya. I have the amazing Miss TiKeya here with me today, and I'm going to have her introduce herself to you guys, tell you a little bit about herself, and then as always, we're going to get into some dialogue that's going to be useful for you as the speaker, the author, the entrepreneur. So TiKeya, tell them a little bit about yourself.
So I am TiKeya Lawrence, founder of M.E.E LLC, in which the mission is to motivate, empower, educate, and just basically bring back the notion of self-love. We talk about self-love, we talk about self-care, but are we really practicing it? Are we really doing what we need, knowing that it's needed? And just bringing that back to the forefront of our minds is my mission.
I can definitely agree with that. I know that, like I said, as a speaker, as an author, a lot of times we get into the mindset of what does everybody else want? And we forget that it's important what we need and what we want as well. And that part, will definitely shift your whole mind and shift your journey as a professional. Because when we think in the beginning, there's some that, being a professional, in the beginning, there are some that literally you're just trying to I'll have to cut that part out, but okay. And going back. So as a speaker or an author, a lot of times in the beginning, we're trying to please everybody else because we're so focused on the sales that we forget that this is our passion. This is our baby. And so, with that being said, what is the first thing that you always say or that you can see and you think back on it? What has been the first thing that you always say to your clients when you're engaging with them and you're trying to get them into that mindset of putting me first?
So by trade, I am a paramedic. And so for years and years, we were, nurtured and taught that you have to take care of yourself before you try to take care of any patient or assist anybody in any kind of emergency. So that's kind of been ingrained in me, but it actually connected back to even from my childhood, coming from divorced parents, and just having going through those motions and that life, I felt like it was like just a lack of love. And so I was like, I got to make sure I stay in my right frame of mind and do what I need to do for myself. So it's like I kind of had built up, and then going into that field and that trade, they kind of, lined up or connected or were the same thing in a sense. And so I'm always telling people again, like, that it makes sense to take care of yourself and do what you need to do for yourself before you try to do anything for anybody else. That makes sense. But what happens, especially for us as women, we're so nurturing, we're natural nurturers, and we get so caught up and passionate that we just automatically, or we just go straight to trying to do stuff for other people and take care of other people when we're not in a position to do that, or we're not in a good place or space to do that. So my thing is, why not fill yourself up so that you're sharing from your abundance space and your abundance place? They're getting what's left over on your cup. They're getting what you have running over. Why not pour from that place? But that means that you have to make sure you stay in that place and in that position, and that you're doing what you need for you. Ultimately, it benefits and helps everybody that you do that.
I definitely agree. I know that when I transitioned from my job, well, first, when I transitioned in my mind from, wanting to be at the job I was at to wanting to work my business full time, I literally had to start saying yes to me and saying no to the job, because I was always that person that they pulled on to, come in if somebody called out. And they was always, having me train people, even though it wasn't, my job to train people, having me train people and do interviews. And like literally I was being stretched in so many different, areas, but it wasn't adding anything to my income. Can we be real? Can we be real? They have us do the most at the job. And so it was pulling me in several different areas, and I had to learn to start saying no.
I totally
relate. Yes, that word.
Now I can relate and understand, because I too, with leaving my job, it was a conflict for me because of what I was doing. It was always helping other people. But then I had to say to myself, I am so miserable here, and I cannot keep, doing this and being in this space and place like this. And I'm miserable here. Like, I just can't even keep doing that to myself. And so it came to a point where I was conflicted of feeling that way, but also my requirement was to help people in emergencies, life and death situations. So it just became very conflicted for me. And I was like, you know what? I can't do this to me, and I'm not going to do it to them. And so I need to remove myself from this situation and go with the plan that I have, and definitely trust God that I'm going to be okay. And that's what I did. And it was basically a stand for myself and my sanity and my peace of mind, which I'm very, very adamant about having, especially as I get older and we become more wiser. I'm very adamant about those things. So I'm like, you have to protect your peace of mind. You have to protect your, you have to protect yourself. You have to be your advocate. Even from talking to my patients previously, I would tell them, listen, if there's something going on with your health, you are your biggest advocate. You have to vouch for yourself and what you need and what you require. And so you got to go out here and do that. And so while we know that, and I know we all know that, like we have to do it. We have to do it. We have to keep that at the forefront of our mind. Like, we can't keep putting that on the back burner or putting things and people in front of us. Even our health, we have to stay on top of our health. You're trying to take care of somebody and you just as sick as you could be. Like, really? It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Like, you have to do what you need to do for yourself, and then be better and in your best place for others.
So true. And you just made such a powerful statement that can transcend across all aspects, and that is, you are your biggest advocate. So if you're not advocating for yourself, then you can't really expect anybody else to advocate for you the same way that you would advocate for you. Like, and honestly, in the beginning stages, we think that everybody's going to support us the way we support, we support other people. We think that everybody's going to, they're going to be able to read our minds and know when we need help and when we need support, and when we're not feeling well. We just in our minds, we're like, they should know. They should know that I want a cup of coffee right now, or a cup of tea. They should know that. But it doesn't work that way.
It's okay to ask, because you're taking a stand for yourself to say, hey, this is what I need, or can you help me? And just as well as saying, this is what I know I need. This is what I require. This is what's going to help me. This is what's going to benefit me. Let me get that in place. Let me get that lined up. Let me do what I need to do. And again, even if taking a stand for yourself by asking for some help, you're getting what you need. You're doing what you need to do for yourself. That's important.
Yeah, it definitely is. And I think a lot of people miss that mark. And I'll even go as so far to say that we as women miss the mark so many times. And it doesn't just fall in line with us in business, but we miss that mark when it comes to raising our children. We miss that mark when it comes to doing the business. We miss that mark when it comes to taking care of ourselves, simply because we're not asking for help. We're thinking that we have to be superwoman. We got to have the S on our chest. We got to have our cape, not realizing that the cape is getting caught in stuff and strangling us to death, literally.
So getting the help you need, and if it's asking for it, like, that makes sense. Do what you need for yourself. Like, it makes sense.
Yes, indeed. So now I know that for a lot of people, they get, when it's time to publish the book, you're more focused on the reviews than you are the accomplishment. So let's speak to that a little bit. How do we transform our minds to it's okay to be focused on, what people are feeling and what they are saying about the product, because you may need to tweak it, you may need to update it, but how do we transform that and start thinking about the accomplishment as well, and celebrating ourselves for that accomplishment?
Exactly. And what I was going to say, like, the first thing you want to do is celebrate yourself. And we've come to a tricky place where people feel like it's bad to celebrate yourself, and there could be a fine line in some situations and a fine line with some people, I'm sure. But you should celebrate yourself. You should be happy that you have accomplished, whether it was your first goal in your first book or whether it was your 20th. Celebrating the fact that you've accomplished another goal or something that you set out to do, and celebrating that and celebrating yourself before, like you said, you get caught up or lost in what other people think, what their reviews are, what their feedback is. Like, just celebrate, because it's so many people who, like you said, we as women get caught up in so many other things. So many people who have put the book off, and so they never even did it. Their dream has been deferred. So many people who have gotten caught up in whatever the situation was and wasn't able to do their book or write a book. So celebrating that you have achieved something and accomplished something, it's okay. It's fine. Again, there may be in situations a fine line, and with some people a fine line. However, celebrate yourself, celebrate your accomplishments, celebrate. Why not give yourself that feedback? Why not do that for yourself? Like, especially if you want other people to do it. We get so confused about the fact that you set the tone for how people treat you, how people interact with you, how people respond to you. You set that tone. Why not celebrate yourself and let everybody join in with the celebration?
Yes, indeed. And listen, celebrate. I think the book that made me go back to that mentality was the 12-week year. And it was because he said, okay, when you get to the end of that 12 weeks, take some time off as if it was the holidays. Take some time to celebrate the accomplishments you've made. Look, it's okay. Yeah, you want to go ahead and look at the things that you didn't do right well, or the things that you may need to change. That's fine. But take some time to celebrate yourself during that,
Right.
after that 12th week. And I was just like,
Right.
That's not really something that we do throughout the year.
No,
We don't celebrate our accomplishments. We don't. And I even see it with social media now, because something that I love with Facebook is that they want you to put your accomplishments on there. They want to celebrate with you. They want to celebrate when you have a friendversary with somebody because you've been online with them for several years and y'all have engaged. Because notice, if it's not somebody that you normally engage with, You won't get that whole little video clip friendversary thing. But if it's someone you're engaging with, they want to celebrate that. There's a reason why. People love to be celebrated. And even though we find ourselves in celebrating ourselves, people love to be celebrated.
Yes. I mean, we all love celebrations. It's just that I think that we sometimes have a hard time celebrating ourselves because we don't want to appear to be, you know, arrogant or conceited or look a certain way. When in all actuality, it does not have to be that. You're just celebrating your accomplishment as you should. Like, pat yourself on the back. It's okay. That's good. And then you go on to the next thing. And other people, you help other people and motivate other people to know that they can do it and that they can have those celebrations as well.
That's it. And, you know, I think another big piece of that is something you just said, is that you alleviate the stress of, can I be able to do that? Is that something that's really achievable? You alleviate that for somebody else. And something that I love is that I have come into a community of entrepreneurs, female entrepreneurs, that uplift and support each other. And so they encourage each other. They're sharing out each other's broadcasts. When they have products and services, we're sharing it out for each other. Why? Because we see the value in being able to say, I can accomplish X, Y, and Z. You can too.
Yep.
And so I've made it a point that this year was going to be a bigger year for me, doing a whole lot of collaborations and, you know, sending stuff out from other people in my community. And not just because I think this is the problem. I think a lot of the bigger name people, this is where they've been killing it in this area, and we've gotten it wrong. Because we look at our email list and think our email list is just for us. That everybody on our email list wants to buy everything that we have. No. And so we send stuff to our email list, or we send stuff on social media. We send stuff to people. And the funny thing is, we're sending stuff that they don't even want or need.
Right. Well, I'm all about sharing is caring. So I try my best to, you know, support others, put out others' information and share. Because like you said, they might not want what you have, but you're helping them out by pointing them to somebody else or something else that somebody else has. Like, why not even be that person?
You never know who it's going to be. I love that about the community that I have been able to be around and be in. Because let's be honest, in the beginning, what goes on, everybody's like, oh, women can't work together. They're catty. They're argumentative. They backstab each other. We get that whole real husbands, real housewives vibe, and people are like, oh no, I don't want to tell you anything. I don't want to give you any resources. I don't want to help you. But the reality is guess what? They're either my client or they're not. I'm okay with that.
I cringe when people say that, because I just have not had that experience in my life. And not to say that I haven't had disagreements with women or unfortunate things happen with women. Not to say that. However, I just don't believe that is, I just don't believe it. I don't fall for it. I don't subscribe to it. No, women can get along. You can get along with whoever you want to get along with. How about asking yourself, are you the problem? Is it you? Is it you? Yeah, is it you? Like, even for myself, even with the word friend, I call myself people friends because that's what I am to you. That's how I treat you. That's how I see myself to you. Now, whether I'm not going to let nobody mistreat me, but whether you respond back to me the same way I treat you, I mean, I can't necessarily expect that. You're not me. However, I am your friend. So, yeah, I've had, situations with women, but to subscribe that we can't get along and we can, no. And again, self-awareness is another thing that I'm saying. So sometimes it may be, ask yourself, is it you?
Self-awareness is key. I think That's the key to success, is being self-aware, because you know what you're capable of doing, what you're not capable of doing. You know what it is, you know what you need as well.
Yeah, it goes right back to how we said, like, if it's something you need, ask for it, advocate for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
If it's something you can't tolerate, protect your peace and don't tolerate it. If you know your health needs to be on this page or that page, do what you need for your health. And all of those things are part of being self-aware as well, because then you know those things and you can implement them, or you can do what's needed.
Oh, and that implementation, whoo, that part. So when we think about me first, and the idea of it is amazing. Thinking about, putting yourself on, because a lot of times we don't put ourselves on our own to-do list, or we're last or close to last. We put ourselves behind our children, our husband, our jobs. We put ourselves behind everything, and we're not there. So when we go to, make that shift, it's interesting, to say the least, but it's also a process.
It is.
It's not something that happens overnight. So let's talk a little bit about that, about the fact that this is something that, okay, we know 21 days to change or start or break a habit. So what does that 21 days look like of putting me first?
So even going back to some of the things we've already said. So being self-aware, knowing what you need, knowing what you could tolerate, knowing how much you can handle, um, knowing where your health stands, knowing those things. That's self-awareness. And so now designing your life around knowing those things and being honest with yourself and being truthful with yourself. If you can't handle it all, you can't be this superwoman. Like, why do you need to be? Like, why do you feel like you need to be or have to be? Like, being self-aware to those things, first and foremost. Then saying and determining and setting the tone for what you need, how you're going to implement it, how you're going to go about getting it and doing it. If at work there's a certain time you need to take a break, you take your break. If there's a certain situation you know that you can't handle or you're going to need help with, you let another coworker or colleague know. Like with parenting, if you need help, whether it's a family member, a friend, hiring help, whatever you need there, like setting those things and putting those things in place to help you. Like, protect your peace of mind, protect your health. You don't want to drive yourself crazy, stress yourself out. Stress is a killer. Stress is a killer. That is for real. That is true. I can attest to it. Again, by trade, I'm a paramedic, so I have seen a multitude of emergency health and medical situations. So don't stress yourself out. If there's a person you can't deal with or tolerate, set those boundaries and just, be honest with yourself. Like, if you're a person that struggles with telling people no, be honest with yourself when it's something that's going to overwhelm you or drive you crazy, and you tell that person or let a person know, like, no, I can't do that. No is a complete sentence. You can say no and just say no. There does not have to be an explanation. You can do that. You can do that. It's okay. It really is. And I think that people don't always, get that or see that. So you got to be self-aware. You got to, advocate for what you need, protecting your peace of mind, having good health. You have to do those things, and just like you plan out anything else or have a schedule for anything else, you put those things in there with knowing, like, listen, that's going to stress me out at 3:00 today. So maybe I don't need to do that at 3. Maybe I need to do that at 7. I mean, I'm not a morning person, so typically I don't do things very early in the morning or schedule things because I'm not a morning person. Like, why would I do that to myself or the people or the person that I'm going to interact with if I can avoid it? You know what I mean? Like, so it's just, again, self-awareness, um, getting what you need, protecting your peace, advocating for your health, doing what you need for yourself. That's self-care. That's self self-love. That's getting what you need for you and doing what you need for you and putting yourself first. And when you do those things, you make yourself better for others. You make yourself better for your children, for your colleagues, for your spouse, for your business associates, for your clients. You're putting yourself in the best position to serve and do things for them. So it doesn't stop at self-love or self-care and like that's all that it's about. No, it's also because that's what's going to be best for others. That's how you're going to help others best from that place.
I definitely understand that. And so guys, before we go into this last segment, I do want to make sure that you guys know that today's episode is sponsored by the Power of Words Telesummit. The Power of Words Telesummit is giving a platform to authors to be able to share what it is that listen, their area of expertise, where they are the expert in the field, sharing that, putting that out in the forefront before people. And not only doing that, but giving you some resources that you need that are necessary to be successful in business. So more information about that is you can go to bit.ly/word power summit. That's bit.ly/word power summit. And I love what TiKeya was just talking about, because when we think about creating those borders and those boundaries when it comes to you as an author, a speaker, as an entrepreneur, that is important. That's something, one of the things that I talk about in my newest book, Leverage, because a lot of times we don't create those boundaries ahead of time. And then we kind of get into this downward spiral of things literally falling out of place and falling apart. We're banging our heads up against the wall because now this relationship, this business relationship, has gone completely sour because we didn't have those boundaries set up in the beginning. And those boundaries are so important. Now, when thinking about those boundaries as a business owner, from the business aspect, what are some of the top areas that you believe boundaries should be put in place in the beginning?
Well, definitely, again, as I said, being self-aware and knowing what you can tolerate and setting your boundaries based off of that. Like I said, for me, I don't even do certain things too early in the morning because I just believe that I'm a nocturnal person. Like I've been that way all 38 years that I've known myself, that I just am not, I just don't do well in the morning. So I'm not gonna, I'm gonna set that boundary around that. Like I'm not gonna stress myself out or anybody else out with me being groggy or anything with trying to do something very early in the morning if I can help it. You know what I mean? So setting those boundaries around your tolerations and what you can deal with and handle, and being open and honest and communicating about those things. Like a lot of times communication is just what it takes. So communicating to somebody, listen, this or that doesn't work for me, or I can't do this or that, like whatever it is that you need to set a boundary around. Like if you're going into an agreement with something and there needs to be a contract, listen, I'm not comfortable working without a contract. So set that boundary and get a contract in place. If it's a situation where they're not meeting something that they were supposed to do contractually, have that conversation and say, because then otherwise you may sit back and you stressed out and looking crazy like, oh my goodness, they're not doing this, they're not doing that. Have a conversation and say, listen, I can't function or operate like this. This is what we need to do at this point in time. And even if it's getting out of a contract or out of a situation or a client relationship, and you need to set that boundary to say, listen, this is what I need to do at this time. And if you already have a contract in place, enforcing what you have in that contract, or enforcing what you already discussed or what the plan was, setting those boundaries in the beginning and then following through with them is important.
I found that that's been very important because with setting contracts, that has been something that I was like, in the beginning, I was like, oh, I don't really need contracts. People people want to work for me or they want to help me. I'm great. And, you know, rainbows and unicorns. We're just going to move forward. And I've had to deal with some of the strangest situations that if I look at it right now, I would be like, what were you thinking? What is it that you were thinking? I mean, like, what were you thinking? And so a part of it was contracts. The other piece of it was, communication was a very big one when it came to setting those boundaries. Not always communicating, like having to communicate, but finding what ways work best for communication. And I found that right now, and I even had somebody say this on social media, they asked the question, is it professional to send somebody a business text? And people were like, no, that is so unprofessional. But we have companies like Text 180 that make it very true that this is what companies are doing. And big name companies are sending you text messages like Kmart and Walmart. They're sending you coupons via text. So to be able to say that that's not something that's professional, no, it's just, it may not be professional in the arena that you're in, but that's where the boundaries have to be set. And you have to determine, when it comes to communication, what's the best line of communication? How are you reacting and engaging with people? I know I connect with a lot of people via Messenger on Facebook. There are people that are like, oh no, that is not how you're supposed to communicate. Everything's supposed to go through email. Well, let me tell you about that good email. And how your emails is going to people's spam. Let's talk about that.
Right. Definitely happens. And like, again, it's a communication. So even if the boundary is, listen, we need to communicate X amount of times a week on this or on that. And I prefer if we communicate in this fashion, this, that, and the third, or only this fashion or whatever. Having a conversation. Communication is very important. So putting that out there and having a conversation or communicating about things definitely helps.
And I can tell you something else, that when you decide to put yourself me first, then you'll stop allowing the red flags to slide by.
Right. The fly. You're right. You're right. You will definitely do things differently, because it's a matter, again, of protecting your peace, protecting your health. You don't want to be stressed out and crazy. Self-care, like, I can't do that. That's no. It's a matter of standing for that. It's a matter of standing for that. And you have to do it. You're your biggest advocate. You are in charge of you. So you have to do it.
Yes, you will stop allowing those red flags to go by. And I think, in the beginning, let's just be honest. We're like grasping for straws. We're trying to find every way that we can get our book out there. We're saying yes to every opportunity. We're saying yes to every collaboration and networking opportunity and volunteer. And we're just saying yes, 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 yes. And then what happens? We saying yes to all these people, and you hardly know these people.
Overwhelmed, overcommitted, stressed out, trying to figure it out. Like, yeah.
Exactly. Yes. You didn't put yourself on the train tracks.
Right, right. It definitely happens because, like you said in the beginning, you're kind of eager and you want to get your book out there, or get these speaking engagements, be this entrepreneur. Like, you want to do it all, but you have to pace yourself. You have to, be real with yourself. Like I said, with that self-awareness piece. And I think that as much as we love social media, I think that people get caught up in that as well. Like, oh, they're doing this, they're doing that. I need to do this, I need to do that. And everything's just not for everybody, period. So you can't stress yourself out like that.
Sure enough can. I've learned that lesson, and woo, by learning that lesson, I'm easy breezy now. Easy breezy. Cover
Yep.
girl. Like, they are not sponsoring this video, y'all. Just in case.
Doesn't feel good though.
But you gotta get to that point of it's either me or you. And I gotta choose me.
Yeah.
I've watched people around me literally do so much for other people. And then when it came time for things that they needed, people were nowhere to be found. And then they were looking around going, well, where is everyone? It doesn't work that way.
Happens. It happens. It definitely happens.
It doesn't work that way. So my last statement to you before we wrap this up is I definitely want to say that, I always ask people about the blunders in, figuring out this process for themselves in writing the book, in publishing their book, or in doing a speaking engagement. What has been some of the blunders or one of the blunders that you have come in contact with on this journey?
Uh, everything has. I'm a little over a year now, so everything has been just so interesting for me. Gosh, I hate to single out or point. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Like it's been so interesting, like this journey for me. Like I take everything. I'm grateful. I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful because it's like new. It's a new space and place. Like I was at my previous job for 18 years. And so I did it like clockwork, schedule, the back of my hand, like, and so being able to be in this newness is like amazing to me. I'm so grateful. And I knew that I was going to, if I didn't ever step out and try or do it, I knew that I was going to be in regret, and I was going to have resentment. And so now that I'm out here, I'm so very, very grateful. Just like my mantra is, whatever the Lord, whatever God wants me to have, see, do, or experience, good, bad, or indifferent, I will. And I'm grateful for that, and I'm okay with that. And so I just, keep that in my mind. So whatever comes, whatever happens, I look at it from that space and that place. And I try to, like, again, be grateful, because it was a long time that I wanted to leave my job. And again, I could see it clear as day that I would have been resentful, and I would have regret never stepping out and trying to do it. And so I'm just so very, very, very grateful to be in this space and just all the newness and everything. Does that answer?
Yeah, that answers it, because I know that in the throughout this process, it's a journey. It's definitely a journey.
Yes.
And in the beginning, you do have that excitement. You have that, you're like, oh my goodness, I'm this is happening, that is happening, this opportunity opens up, that one. And so yeah, you're still in that space. But then, as you go further along, you start to look back and be able to say, okay, maybe I shouldn't have went left, I should have went right. Maybe I shouldn't have went up that hill, I should have went through the valley instead. So I mean, it's a part of that journey, and it's a part of the learning process as well, because everybody's
appreciating it. I'm glad and appreciating it. Like I said, good, bad, or indifferent, I'm just taking it, and I'm like, you know what, it was some days when I was just down and out and never, I couldn't see, or it wasn't close enough. This day wasn't close enough to me. And now here I am in it. So I'm just very, very grateful.
Yeah, I can definitely understand that. I appreciate that, because it's just like, when I look at everything in the past. I look at all the situations that we've been through. I look at, oh my goodness, literally the lefts when I should have went rights, all of those. And I say I've learned and grown from them. I've definitely learned a lot. I've grown a lot.
All a journey.
Yeah.
All a part of the journey.
Definitely.
And so grateful to be on it, because like I said, it was some days when I was really, really miserable in my previous job. And I know some people who still feel that way. And so I'm grateful that, you know, I'm able to be in this space now and taking it all, good, bad, and different, and keeping it moving. Because it's easy to give up, fall off, jump out. But if you need a break, you know, but it's easy to, you know, do that as well. But I'm here and I'm on a journey.
Definitely. Well, I want to say thank you to all of our viewers, all my replay viewers. Hey guys, love you guys. And all of you that are coming in, don't forget again that your shares, your reactions, and your comments still matter. I come back and engage with you guys all the time. And also, if you're catching this on YouTube, then if you check in the description box, you will see all of TiKeya's information. But TiKeya, can you let them know where they can find you, how they can get in contact with you, and what you have coming down the pipeline next?
So I am on all social media platforms under TiKeya Empowers or TiKeya Lawrence. I am working on my website, but it's up, but I'm doing daily work on that website. It's lovemeellc.com, and then me is M.E.E. So LOVEMEELLC.com is the website. I am working on, I've been a part of 3 anthologies. I am working on my own book. I am working on a blog. So I'm working on a few things. I'm sure I'm definitely going to do at least 2 events before, you know, the year's out. I'm probably in the summer, maybe fall. And I'll definitely have that information, you know, out, and you'll see me if you are following me and staying in touch with me on the social media platforms. You will definitely hear about it or see it coming. I am celebrating my birthday Friday. I'm going to do, I guess, a virtual party. I've been, like I said, newness of this journey, you know, it's all so new, because I used to could throw together a party and boom, but this year I was like, you know what, I don't know what I'm gonna do. And here it is last minute. I'm like, well, I can have a virtual party. And so I'll be going live throughout the day on Friday, just celebrating my birthday.
Oh, definitely appreciating the journey, guys. And again, the title says it all for this particular episode. It's time to love me first. And that's meaning a lot as an author, as a speaker. Yes, we care about the reviews, we care about the sales, we care about the comments and the posts and engaging with people, but we have to have some love on ourselves and for ourselves in order for us to be the best version of ourselves for others. And with that being said, I love you guys. All of our viewers, I appreciate you guys. There would be no Speak Easy podcast without you. And also don't forget that our sponsor for today's episode was the Power of Words Telesummit that's coming up January 27th. Yeah. bit.ly/Word Power Summit for you to get more information for being on that platform. And we'll come up and give you some more information for you to be able to get your free virtual ticket to see it live. Guess what? That's the end of our segment for today. But until next time, guys, don't forget to press it out. See ya.
Thank you.